Today I'm here with a new player guide, top 10 tips for World War Doh. What is up, my friends? My name is Echo and I'm back with another top 10 tips for new player video on the channel. Today we're featuring World War Doh, and with me I have Jairo Nieto, the creative director of this new game. Let's take a second and welcome him to the channel in the comment section. How you doing today, man? Thanks for coming down.
Hey man, hi Echo. Thank you for inviting me, man, and giving us the opportunity to talk a little bit about the game and give some of the new players these very useful tips. I've seen a lot of new players get beat down by some of the older ones, and I want them to have all the tools that they need for success in this World War Doh.
Well, I'll tell you, I would be one of those players that sometimes takes the beat down, so I can't wait for these tips, especially because the game is very new. It's not global just yet. You want to let everyone know where it is and maybe when we could expect a global release or hints. I don't know what you're able to say just yet.
Well, let's say that the global release is actually right around the corner. We will be announcing some pretty cool stuff in the following weeks. By mid-January, there's going to be some stuff happening, and yeah, man, it's gonna be here soon. So right now it's available in Latin America and the UK. And some select countries in Europe, but it will be available soon everywhere.
Well, we can't wait for it. I'm having a lot of fun playing the game, and I can't wait for my audience to be able to get their hands on it and test it out. But why don't we get into these tips? Let's start with tip number 1.
So the first tip is know your damage types, your damage and armor types. So keep in mind the different damage types versus armor types in the game. Unlike other games, we have different types of damage, Slayer, Poison, Demolition, and normal damage. And then we have different types of armor. We have normal armor, which we call troop armor, building, and commander armor. And so how this plays out is that Slayer damage deals increased damage to troops. Normal damage deals reduced damage to buildings and the commander. Demolition damage is ideal for killing buildings. It deals extra damage to buildings. And poison damage is ideal for killing the commander because it deals full damage to the commander, but does not affect buildings. So whenever you're looking at a troop, just make sure that you know which type of damage it has, because you will be surprised at how some troop interactions will make you a better player.
Yeah, and having that in-depth information, I mean, honestly, it takes a little bit of time to really understand and learn what does what, but it's going to make you a better player when you do know what all of your cards are going to be able to do to everyone that's your opponent.
It gives the game a lot of depth, to be honest, and as I said, being informed will definitely give you an edge on the battlefield.
Awesome. Now, let's get into tip number 2.
The second tip is to take advantage of damage multipliers. So if you got like a big guy to take down, say it's Rex around the map, is Mrs. Rex walking around the Yeti, just remember that certain effects like freezing or discombobulation in World War Doh increases the damage taken by a unit. So if there's one of those big guys walking around, just make sure that you freeze them first and then unleash the damage. That will make the quick work of it.
I wish I had that tip yesterday when I was playing and having a problem with him, but that's a great tip as well. 8 more to go, guys. Let's get into number 3.
All right, numero 3. So prevent barrel caps. Something that I see a lot of new players, ignore is other players capping their barrel. You can prevent the other player from taking their barrel if you damage them while he's trying to cap the barrel with the command. So that's half of the tip. The other half of the tip is that you can actually do this for a while if you're using damage over time effects to deal damage to the commander or deal damage to the area where the barrel will be capped. Say the poison pool from Dr. Death. If he dies next to the barrel, that poison pool will be there for quite a few time for a few seconds, impeding the opponent from getting the barrel.
All right, another in-depth tip. And so far, guys, if you're enjoying these tips and you want to see more videos like this, or even if you want to see more videos on World War Doh, let me know in the comments below and throw a big thumbs up on the video. It's going to let me know that you guys are enjoying this game.
All right, tip number 4, do not underestimate power-ups. When the tower dies, it drops a power-up that the player can use right away. Do not underestimate it either for you or your opponent. I've seen many players lose after they kill the enemy tower, but their commander is low health and they made a dive, and then the enemy just, powers up with a rifle and kills your commander because you underestimated those power-ups. Do not underestimate those and use them when you need to. Those can turn around the game, definitely.
So grab them whenever they're available, as long as it's a clear shot for them.
If the other commander is, close to death, and you see that there's a chance of a turnaround by using it, just do it. Do not save it for a later time. Use them.
Great tip. And now tip number 5.
All right, for our 5th tip is something that we call ATP. Always trade positively. So this means that if possible, try to kill a unit using a lower cost unit or spell, right? Using the commander is also valid as long as the health cost is worth it. This means that, new players usually make the mistake of using the commander to kill one unit, but trade about 50% of his health in the process, which puts them in a very weak position for the next minute or so, especially if their health tower is in cooldown. So just make sure that whenever you're killing a unit, you're coming out on the positive side of the trade, either by having a Doh advantage or by making sure that if you use your commander, you use them optimally without either trading too much health or not using, for example, the rage tower to kill something that he could have just, as we say, right-clicked or just, killed with his regular gun.
Right, and to be honest, a lot of people that are watching this video are probably players or have played Clash Royale, and for people that have played that game, it's very similar to the positive Elixir trades. You're trying to make smart investments on the cards you put down so you don't find yourself in the hole, but it's not called Elixir in World War Doh, right?
No, it's called Doh. It's the resource that allows everything to come to life in the world. We can do later down the road a lore video, but yeah, that Doh is what makes the magic happen. But here, and that's the interesting part, right? You have that resource trade that you want to keep positive, but since you have the commander, there's this added layer of depth that you need to take care of because he's an objective too. So the resource, there's another resource which is his health, and that is also you need to be mindful of that as part of your trade and as part of your game.
Beautiful.
All right, so tip number 6 is APD. Always punish dives. This means that if the enemy commander is diving your backline, make sure you deal as much damage as possible to the enemy commander.
Right,
if he's running through your backline to kill a Vengon you place, or a Neg, or any troop that you have there, or to impede a barrel cap, for example. Anything that makes him dive your backline, just make sure that you punish him for doing that, and you deal as much damage as you can. Whenever a player is diving my tower, for example, and trying to use to deal some damage to it, I place a Catling gun on the retreat, on the path that he will be retreating into, or a mine, any mine, like an infestation mine or a D mine, just to make sure that I deal as much damage as possible to him. That will put him in a weaker position and will punish that dive again.
Yeah, and make him think twice about trying to dive your.
Oh yeah. All right. Tip number 7 is cap and shock. So you want to catch the enemy by surprise by using a high-cost unit right after a quick barrel cap. So ideally, you want to do this after you make sure that the enemy doesn't have a counter in their hand. Maybe he just used it, or you've already seen that he played all of his units and can counter that big cost unit. But in general, the barrel gives you a very quick burst of Doh, and for opponents, sometimes it's hard to estimate where that will put you Doh-wise, and that allows you to surprise him with those high-cost units that maybe he's not ready for. So if you see the opportunity of capping the barrel with him not capping his barrel, for example, or after he has capped his barrel and only used the resources of that barrel, cap and shock is a very good way of gaining a lot of momentum in the game.
I love that tip. Now, is it ever wise to try and cap your opponent's barrel, or is that always a bad play?
It is very situational, but it would definitely be ideal if you can cap both barrels.
Right.
Sometimes you should cap the barrel just to deny the Doh that he will get. Even if you're full, let's say, even if you're at 10 Doh or 9 Doh and you know that you're going to have a Doh surplus, denying the Doh from your opponent is usually a good move, unless you trade negatively with your commander health. So if it's going to cost you a lot of your commander health and your heal tower is on cooldown, for example, then that's not such a good idea. For cooldown, this is a very simple one. It's max your heals. don't ever use the heal tower if it won't fully heal you. If it won't fully heal you, if you're not gonna get the full benefit of the heal tower, you're wasting it. You're wasting your heals, and that will put you again in a weak position. So just make sure that every time you use that tower, you're using it to get the full effect of the tower.
So save it. Like if my commander is lost just a little bit of health and I'm just sitting on a full tower, a heal tower, save it until he would be completely filled up. Don't waste that little bit.
Okay. Wait at least until he's half health to tap that tower.
Great.
All right, tip number 9. So this one is one of the most frequent mistakes that I see from new players. And it's that they do not position smartly. So this one's all about smart positioning. So and I'll try to explain it a little bit better. So try to be close whenever to try to be where you're going to need to be. Right? If the enemy commander is capping a barrel and you're standing back where your towers are at full health, you know, he's just gonna get a free cap. You don't want that to happen. You want your commander to be standing in key places on the map. If you're badly injured and on the enemy and you're on the enemy half of the map, you're just asking for trouble, right? And let's say he drops a clown car and he can only drop units, you know, unless your towers have been taken out, he can only drop units on his half of the map. If he drops a clown car and you're far away, either diving his tower or, you know, or on your towers again, as a previous example, then you won't reach it in time to kill it and you're going to be in trouble. So, you know, it's all about making sure that you read the game correctly and you are moving your commander and positioning him close to where it's going to be useful for you.
So it's basically think ahead of where you're going to need to be and position yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's a very common mistake for players. They either leave his commander, you know, they're either very passive with him or they're too aggressive with him. And there's like this fine point where you need to be sort of like predicting what, you know, get in your opponent's head and or get in your opponent's shoes and think like, where is he going to play the next unit? Where do I need to be?
That makes sense. And this is something that people will learn more as they get more experience with the game. They'll understand what someone may be doing next, and they'll better themselves as a player. And we're on the final tip, tip number 10.
All right, tip number 10. This is my favorite one. Get in their heads.
Yes.
So, and what this means is emote freely.
Oh, man.
Let them know who's in charge. If you look at the games of players at the top ranks, they use emotes to their advantage. You know, a well-placed taunt, a well-placed noob, a well-placed, you know, message. It throws opponents off their game and makes them make more mistakes. That's science. This is science, guys.
It brings in the emotions. When the emotions are there, when that anger is there, the same choices won't be made. Someone may get a little too aggressive. Mess themselves up. So I want to thank Hiro Necho for coming down today and sharing these top tips that are not out here yet on YouTube. I'm really stoked about it. And guys, as soon as there is a download link or the ability for you to pre-register for the game, I will pin a comment so that you guys can come back to the video and get yourself involved so you can get into the game as soon as possible. Thanks so much for coming down and spending some time with me on the channel today, man.
Hey, Echo, thank you for inviting me, man. I had a blast, dude. I love this.
It was a pleasure. I'm really happy to bring my audience your game. I know that you guys are probably so excited for it to go global pretty soon. If you ever want to come back on the channel and talk about other elements of the game, you're more than welcome. It's just an open invitation for you.
Definitely will. And thank you guys for playing our game. We listen to your feedback a lot. We just want to grow this community and make sure that everyone has the chance to play this awesome game.
Yeah, they want to dominate the mobile gaming space. That's the truth. That's what they want to do. Are there any social networks or maybe one social platform that you would like to promote if people want to go and find you?
Well, you can join us on Discord, actually. We do have a Discord server. Okay. It's the World War Doh Discord. So maybe you can leave in the comments also the link to the Discord server. I
will do that. I'll put it in the description of this video, the link to their Discord, so you guys can get in touch with that community.
They can also subscribe to the World War Doh channel on YouTube since we're already here.
Sounds good. There you go, guys. So if you want to get in touch, that's how you do it. I want to thank you all so much for coming through today's video. Remember to subscribe to my channel as well if you like mobile gaming experiences, because I bring them to you every single day. But for now, we're out of here. Thank you so much for sticking around till the end of the video. And if you made it, hashtag made it in the comments. Take care, guys.
No problem.
And be good.